Hi, everyone. Carter Krishna here for Beyond the 90. Congratulations to Lincoln City. They are headed to the EFL Championship. They're headed to the second tier of English football for the first time in 65 years. And they clinched their spot on today, Easter Monday, as Bank Holiday Monday in the UK, 2-1 win over Reading in EFL League One. And Reading, of course, a club that's been in the Premier League, spent multiple seasons in the Premier League and had some financial difficulties and now is chasing promotion themselves. So Lincoln City clinches automatic promotion, probably will win League One, an unbelievable achievement. This achievement culminates a decade-long march up the Football League table, or actually back into the Football League and then up the Football League table. So let's talk about some of the highlights. 2013, Lincoln City were one match away from falling to the sixth tier of English football. You hear about the great stories about clubs that almost fell out of the Football League and when they were in the fourth tier and needed a miracle to stay in the Football League. Lincoln City needed a miracle to stay within one tier of the Football League. They almost fell out of the National Conference, the National League, in 2013. They needed a final day win against Hyde United to stay in the league. And in that league, in that division, the conference, fifth tier, the National League, as we call it. They stayed in the National League, and in 2016, the Cowleys came in, Danny and Nicky Cowley, and then came that great FA Cup run where they got to the quarterfinals. They were the first non-league team in over a century to reach the quarterfinals. They beat Burnley, who was in the Premier League, on the way. And by the way, along the way, Burnley was a team that season that I think might have qualified for Europe. Might have finished seventh in the Premier League. No, maybe that was the following season, but still a good Burnley side under Sean Dyche, a side that stayed in the Premier League. Burnley's being a yo-yo club now, they stayed in the league for 6 successive seasons under Sean Dyche in that period. Lincoln City beat them in the FA Cup to get to the quarterfinals in that period. And that FA Cup run, I often say FA Cup runs hurt promotion campaigns. It hurt Coventry a few seasons ago to get to the semifinals. I think it's going to hurt Southampton that they beat Arsenal the other day in their quest for promotion this year. But it didn't hurt Lincoln City that year. They get back into League 2, winning the National League that year. Then the next year they win the EFL Trophy. In their first year back in the Football League, they win the EFL Trophy at Wembley. 2019, they get out of League 2. But then, of course, COVID hit. They're a club which doesn't have a great financial base, but they were able to, they've been able to manage this. And Michael Skubala, who many of us remember from his kind of troubled tenure at Leeds United, has built kind of a tactically efficient juggernaut. So they're budget-wise, they're still in the bottom tier in League One, probably bottom 5 or bottom 6 in terms of spend. Yet they've run away with the league. They've run away with a league that includes the likes of Cardiff City, who haven't been down in this tier for a long time. I mentioned Reading, Huddersfield Town, who were in the Premier League pretty recently and made a playoff final, I think, after that, and just barely didn't get back up. And several other heavyweights, Luton Town, who were in the Premier League very recently, right? They've won the division with those clubs in it, which is pretty unbelievable. They're now 24 without a loss, and Darikwa is maybe the best defender in League One, and has really stood out this year. So I think what Clive Nates built as chairman, and Ron Fowler is now come in from Major League Baseball. It's more about evolving and kind of building. And so I think a key for Lincoln City, as you look at it, is that they took their time, they built, they sustained. Now it's about continuing to evolve. This is truthfully such an incredible story. Not to take anything away from Wrexham, but in Bromley and Lincoln City in League 2 and League 1, you have even better stories than Wrexham potentially. Who have been the key figures in this team? Derek, what we mentioned, I think Rico Hackett has been a standout player, kind of one of the funnest players to watch in League One. Jack Moylan, obviously, has been key, and he scored today, right? He scored the winner today. And Skubala, it's going to be very, very, Skubala as a manager now is going to be looking and preparing for visits from the likes of Norwich next year, West Brom, QPR, Pompey, and Pompey stays in the division. And think about the potential that they could face West Ham, Leeds, or even, dare I say, Spurs at their ground next season. Can you imagine that in a league game? So the Imps are back, and I think much like Oxford United has shown in their 2 seasons up in the championship, and I think Oxford United is probably going to get relegated this year, but that's not a guarantee. I mean, they're still clawing and fighting. As Dave's shown, if you manage your resources well, and you have a plan, and you have a structure, and you have a tactical sense, you can survive in the championship for a few years. Now, I think chances are Lincoln City will go back down next season. And if it's not next season, it'll probably be the year after. But it's still an unbelievable story that we need to pay tribute to.